Our next performer is someone that me and Joel both hold very dear to our hearts.
I voted him most likely to brighten my day for senior superlatives. Not much.
Alright, well, we had to have the stage reinforced just for him. Please welcome Felix
Not as much as I love you, Noel. Not as much as I love you. Following up those acts is going to be pretty difficult. Like, Brian was hilarious, David was hilarious, Talon was hilarious. I mean, it's going to be really hard, especially seeing as how anxious I am. I mean, I know you can't tell, but I'm shaking right now with how nervous I am. I can keep it in very well. But yeah, no, like, it's not, you're not the problem. Like, performing in front of an audience isn't bad. I've performed in front of you people before. It's just that my family threatened to come here and surprise me and support me tonight. And I know what you're thinking, like, Felix, having my family there would be great. They'd help me out and I'd be encouraged and everything. No! Having your family here would be great. Okay, let me tell you what it'd be like. Let me give you a rundown, like, the possible scenario. This is one of many, actually. This is just a small chance, and this is like not even worst case. If the Jovel Avalar clan showed up to GSMST for improv, like, stand-up night. So, first of all, my mom would already be gone, okay? She'd be disappointed that every punchline wasn't about the church or community service. And I'd get home and I'd check my voicemail and she'd be like, "Yo, I'm gonna like a little papa." Like, Mom, calm down. Like, that's not appropriate. And she's just like, "You don't love me enough." And everything always ends up being about why I don't love her enough. Like, I don't clean my room. "Oh, Felix, you don't love me enough. That's the problem." And no, I just hate cleaning my room. Or I'm thinking of going to college. I don't know anymore. Like, after I had to talk with my mom, she's like, "Oh, why are you leaving me? You don't love me enough." I'm like, "Mom, I need a higher education. Like, it's not, I love you, but I love making money and, like, being able to help you out in the future more." And then I shouldn't have said that because she caught on to that real quick. She said, "You love something more than you love your mother? What is wrong with you, Felix? What is wrong with you?" Honestly, like, I don't even talk to her anymore because I just feel guilty. It's like watching Marley and Me over and over and over again. Oh, did I ruin the movie for somebody? He dies. He dies. Ah! He's dead. And well, my dad, I think he'd be the worst, but it'd be funny because he'd just be like heckling me in very angry Spanglish for his own enjoyment and that of Elizabeth's. He'd just be like, "Felix, what?" And I wouldn't know who it was, and I'd be like, "Oh yeah, heckler," and he's just like, "Your grades suck." Son terrible. I don't know who you are and how you know so much about my academic record. Please step outside. And then my oldest sister, she'd be great. She'd be a great audience member. She'd sit down and she'd laugh at the jokes at the appropriate time, and she'd be quiet and keep to herself. But the problem is that she'd bring my 3 nephews. And I don't know, like, if you guys know 10-year-old, 8-year-old, and 6-year-old boys, but they are terrible things. I don't want to say people. They're not people. God, no. And then they'd be cute and all for like all of 5 minutes. They'd sit down and they'd look like little angels. And then they'd end up fighting about like who gets the privilege to bite through the cables here. Because they like to pretend that they're rabbits. And you think that's cute until they start eating grass and then vomit all over your room. And one of them, like I said, one of them's 10, and like, how do you think that's a good idea? Everyone's like past their cow phase at 7, so I mean, my nephew might have something wrong with his head. And then, honestly, I take back what I said about my dad. I don't think he'd be the worst. I think my second older sister would be the worst, because she'd be too nice. She'd get here and be overly supportive. She'd be picking fights with people that were not laughing and just yelling obnoxiously nice things. I would not enjoy that at all, because I can't deal with that kind of pressure. Like, she's telling you that I'm good, and then I'm not. Like, calm down, Joanna. Oh God, you guys know my sister's name now. But yeah. And the worst part, and I feel bad for you, is that they all look like me. Like, imagine that. Imagine a group of 7 people with this face and just appropriate hair. Like, my dad has a bald spot, and my mom has, like, graying hair, and then my sister has, like, the Skrillex going on. I don't even know. But yeah, like, and they all have the same awesome facial hair. Thank you. It's amazing, I know. But yeah, like, I really wouldn't like it because they draw attention to themselves. And that's something I don't think that you should do in public. And I know that the place I encounter this the most is the Metro Atlanta Rapid Transit Authority, or as some of you like to call it, the MARTA. That is where people love to draw attention to themselves, regardless of how they do it. So a couple weeks ago, we're celebrating my friend's birthday, and we go out and we take the MARTA there because no one wants to drive to like the middle of nowhere in downtown Atlanta because it's like 17 one-way streets going like this in all directions. So we decided to take the train there, and the ride there is fine. We see, I guess, normal people, like as normal as you can find on a rapid transit authority. But on the way back is really just when, like, when they say the freaks come out at night, they're not lying. They are not lying. We get on at 5 points because we had to, you know, switch from the east to the north. And there we see, what I saw at least, was a cyclist. And I was just like, please, don't let this guy get on the train with me. Just please. Someone deflate his tires, kick him, I don't care what you have to. Keep him off the train. Because I knew the first thing that was going to happen is that he'd try to just like get in there first because he has a bike, and like that makes him more special. And that's exactly what happened. Me and my friends get on the train, and then this guy, I guess, like, just didn't notice, and he had to get on late. And he's still trying to get in, and there's people just like, it looks like a Japanese rail car, just everyone's like this. And then this guy's like, excuse me, I have a bike. And they're like, yeah, we can tell you have a bike. And he's wearing like 3-inch long like biker shorts and like something like skin tight. And I was like, yeah, we can tell you have a bike, buddy. And he's still trying to get in there. Like, this guy will not take a hint. Some guy's like, buddy, calm down. And he's like, no, I have a bike. Like, that doesn't make you get on any quicker. So, I mean, eventually he did get on, but it's like, I didn't know bikes were this big because it was touching all of 30 different people. And I swear I had like a pedal in my butt. Like, I did not enjoy that train ride back. And the worst part is that this guy, he got off at the next stop. And it was the same song and dance at the next stop. So it's like, next stop is Midtown. And I'm like, oh, thank God, this guy might get off, right? And then that was like the worst thing I could have said because that's exactly what he did. And then the doors open, he's just like, he starts just shifting around, thinking people will take a hint, just like, and everyone's like just looking at him like, what do you want? And just like, not even talking to anybody. And he's like, excuse me, I have a bike. And then he just expects people to get out of his way, right? I mean, it eventually happened, I think. I don't remember. I think I fell asleep before the guy got off the train. But what I do remember is that I was washing bicycle grease off of myself for the next week, and that was not a pleasant experience. Most of the time. And then my favorite is the guy that still draws attention to himself, but doesn't mean to. So one time, I think this was a very long time ago, this is back when I was still scared of public transportation. I hadn't become jaded, you know. And I'm on there, and I'm all like, all of 13 years old, and my mom's like, Felix, here's $2.50, ride the train down to whatever you have to get to. And I'm like, oh, gee, thanks, Mom. And she's like, you don't love me enough. I said thank you. And I get on the train, and there's like nobody else on there except for me, I think like a nun. I don't remember. I think I'm making stuff up now. But what I do remember is that there was a guy on there who was asleep. And I was like, yay, this will be a calm ride at 7:30 in the morning on the MARTA. And I'm only going down like 3 stops. And it happens again. Someone draws attention to themselves on the MARTA. And it wasn't the nun. It was the guy that was asleep. I keep over looking at him because I don't know if he's actually asleep because he looks like he's just opening one eye. Like looking at me, and I'm just like trying to see if he'll react to anything, and it's not working. And then right as I'm about to get off, I just see him get up, and like he goes to the corner because there's actually no place where anybody can't see you on a train. And he's just like, And did this guy just vomit on the train? Like, is he howling at something? I did not know what was going on. And then I smelled it, and I was like, oh man, like this guy had Tostitos for breakfast. What was this? It was disgusting. But he tried to play it off, so he sat over where he vomited. And I was like, buddy, but we noticed. Like me and then just like went to the opposite side of the train. He was trying to sweep it under his foot. Hey, this would actually happen, okay? This would actually happen. This wasn't the news and everything. But yeah, like people still draw attention to themselves when they don't mean to. And speaking of vomit, I've been at Denny's before. And no offense to anyone who likes Denny's or who works there. I mean, the food's just bad. But the reason I mentioned it is because I thought I didn't hate people. Like I thought I wasn't a misanthrope until I had breakfast at Denny's. And I realized that people just aren't for me. And I have experienced, there was a life-changing moment. People describe things as before and after an event. And for me, that before and after event was breakfast at Denny's in 2009. So I get there, and it's me and my friends. I'd spend the night over at one of my friends' house, and we're a weird group of little children. It was like one of us, I don't even know, one of us was like in crutches. I know I was shorter and more rotund, so it was just like they brought in a basketball with them. But I mean, we were the most normal people there. That's the sad part. You get there and you're just like, I don't know if I want to eat in public with you guys. But then you get there and there's a guy with like 7 plates of bacon, and he's just like huddled over them like, what? Like overly protective of his favorite breakfast meat. And then you start talking because, you know, that's how you try to break the air at a very, very, very terrible place. And the conversations were just really typical 14-year-old boy fare. Like, I'm 14 and this is funny. So it was a bunch of just fart jokes, a bunch of yo mama jokes, and like eventually we just started being really loud, and we started drawing attention to ourselves in public. And this mom notices us, and she has her 3 kids, well, 3 kids. Once again, they're 10-year-old boys. And they hear us talking about farts, and they're going through that phase where like everything is funny, like farts especially, and like all of that and everything of that nature was just hilarious. And then they stop paying attention to whatever she was doing, and they start listening to our conversations, and we're just telling the worst jokes. Like I would go back and just slap myself, just stop, get out of here with that. But these kids just like, they love it, they're eating it up, and then we notice that we're just like, let's make more terrible jokes. Yeah, because we'd never had an audience before. And yeah, you guys aren't my first audience, those guys were, so sorry that they took the honor from you. But yeah, their mom gets really mad at us because she's like, you guys are terrible influences on my children. And it's like, oh, I'm 14, what do you expect? Like, I'm not Gandhi. You want your children to be like non-violent and straight-A students, please don't bring them to Denny's at 7:30 in the morning. It's like they should be studying at home. You should be making them breakfast. And that didn't work out. And like, she was offended that, you know, we didn't stop even after she asked us because her kids thought we were cooler than she was. I think that was the issue, I'm not sure, but I think we were cooler than she was. And really, I mean, I guess the moral of that story is, and what I learned from this lady was, you know, just to not let the small things get at you. I know Brian talked about that in his set, where like the seniors cut him, the upperclassmen cut him, and he didn't know what to do. Like I know I follow that. That's a life lesson now. Like, if you cut me, you will get food before me. Like, there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Hey, you had the idea. I didn't think of that one. I'm sorry. Go right ahead. And I mean, this topic has been done to death before. Like, I know a very famous comedian had on his show, When Keeping It Real Goes Wrong. And that's exactly what the situation is. Like, someone will slight you, like someone will step on your shoe, and you have to go through like 2 situations in your mind. You're just like, okay, now I need to buy new shoes, or I fight this guy. It's like, whoa, brain, whoa, calm down. Like, that is not the appropriate response to this situation. It's just like, you stepped on my shoe, sock him in the mouth. No, please, stop. And you can't help it because it's a matter of pride. and I guess it's kind of hard for a lot of people to do it. But I mean, self-respect is something that you need in order to be able to ignore that, and I'm able to ignore that, so pretty well. So another one of the small things I guess that would have gotten to me had I not learned this lesson from this lady at Denny's was the fact that I was put on right before the intermission. And I know to most people that wouldn't mean anything, but to me it's just like, this guy is so bad, we need a break after him. Like, the intermission is probably going to be longer now because it's just like, people need to recover. People's ears just need to be listening to something that's not this guy. And I know I would be mad, and I probably would have picked a fight with Angela. I don't know where she is right now, but she knows where she's at. She knows that I'm going to get her. She knows. So, I mean, I guess if my comedy has to do with anything, it's vomit and not letting the small things get to you. Because when I talk bad about you people, I guess, people, because you're high school students, you just don't just know that I'm only doing comedy because I like you guys more than I like comedians. And I mean, it's kind of sad because Brian came up here earlier and it's like, there's a lot of similarities between what he had to say about comedy and how I feel about it, because he's right. You're not born into wanting to become a comedian. Like, you just have to be broken down and just tired of everything until the point where you start making fun of it. Because I know at 18 I didn't think I was going to be doing this, but I am. And I know that looking back, that was a lot of bad decisions that led to this moment. Yeah, you want to be up here? No, you don't. You don't know what I've been through. You don't know what it took to get up here. Okay, have you ever been mauled by a possum before? Exactly. You want to perform? Go through some stuff. Learn a bit about yourself. Cry a lot. And I mean a lot. I don't think I'm able to cry anymore, but obviously I can sweat. But yeah, so yeah, doing comedy's not hard at all. It's hard on you, but it's not hard to do. Yeah, it rhymed. Left y'all with some hashtag bars. If that's the lesson of the day too. I think that's all for me. Thank you.